told him, I'm giving you a seed. So and Abraham knows that seed are not to be kept. Seed has to be sown. Oh, somebody didn't hear me. When your supposed breakthrough is a seed, then when you eat it, you are doomed. Am I speaking? Okay, let me share a testimony. One time, Papa preached, was in London, and he told us they gave him a heavy, somebody came to him, and okay, he had some money with him, and God told him to give it to a particular man of God. So he landed in Lagos and was relatively without nothing, and he was just there being human. And suddenly he got a call, and somebody said, I need you to come and pray for my family. And he wasn't excited about the call because the person didn't call the way he ought to call. And God said to him, you need to go. And he went to pray, and after he was through, I think so, the person appreciated him in some good millions of dollars. And while he had the envelope seated on the flight, and God told him, called him, my son, and he said, please, he said, you will give me this. Listen to me. $1 million was a breakthrough to him, but to God he gave him a seed, not a breakthrough. Am I speaking to somebody here? There are times where God gives you some contact. He didn't give you the contact for keep. He gave you as a seed. The 1 million was a seed, and in his seed, if you see people today, they are making progress in life. They are multiplying on every side. What happened is that when they got the seed called Isaac, they didn't keep him. They sold him back, and when they sold Isaac, they automatically begin to become father of nations. When God wants to make you bigger than money, he will give you money that look like a breakthrough, but the money is a seed. If you sow the seed, hear this. Oh, God didn't tell Abraham how he was going to do it, but he told him, I'll give you a seed. He said, this Ishmael is not. He said, the child of the bondwoman is not. He said, there's a seed that shall come from Sarah. He said, in that seed shall the nations be blessed. In that seed. He said, for thy seed shall be like the sand in the seashore. Am I speaking to somebody? Yes, sir. In that seed. So what was God saying? God was saying, I will give you a cup of granite, and I will leave you with a cup of granite to become a major granite distributor. God was saying, I will give you a tuber of yam, and I will give you some seed yams. In the seed yam, you will become a major yam distributor, that the world will eat your yam. Now when God brought you the yams, hunger came, and then you decided to roast your seed yam, and that's how you began to struggle till today. In thy seed. In thy seed. When you understand the mysteries of the seed, you just explode without struggle. Am I speaking here? Somebody said the voice of sacrifice is a hard voice to hear. Very hard. The voice of instruction and direction is like God himself does not love you at all. Am I speaking here? The fourth one is the prophetic voice. I call it the voice of ministration. In Acts chapter 9 verse 10 and 11. Can we read that together? Somebody said the voice of ministration. Acts chapter 9 verse 10 and 11. He said, and there was a certain disciple at Damascus named Ananias, and to him said the Lord in a vision. Somebody say in a vision. He said, I am here. Said to him in a vision, Ananias, and he said, behold, I am here, Lord. Verse 11. Want to go? And the Lord said unto him, arise. Somebody say arise. Number one. Who said to him? The Lord said to him, he said, number one, arise. Number two, and go to the street, which is called Straight, and inquire in the house of Judah for one called Saul of Tarsus. For behold, He prayed. Is that not prophetic? Talk to me now. Is that not prophetic? Is that not the prophetic dimension we enjoy today? Who spoke to him in a vision? And the Lord said to him, arise. It was in a vision. God now gave him a direction for physical manifestation. He said, arise. Go to a street called Straight. In the house of Saul. No, in the house of Judah. You will meet one Saul of Tarsus. Abi? He gave him the street, the house, and gave him the name. And then now told him what the person is doing. Oh, Gabala. Am I speaking to somebody? So when the voice of God is obvious, the prophetic is not a negotiation. He said, arise to a street called Straight. In the house of Judah. Then there was no house number. Am I speaking to somebody? So he says the house of Judah. In that house there is a man called Saul. Am I speaking? Then he said the Saul I'm talking about now is praying. Then when he now went, he said when you get there, lay hand on him and his eyes shall be open. Is that not the prophetic? Your name is this. You are married with 2 children. That's almost the same thing. Arise, Ananias. Go to there's a street called Straight. When you get to the street, in that street there's a house. It's called the house of Judah. When you get to the house, there's a man called Saul. He's in the house of Tarsus. And he what? He prayed. He said he prayed. And when you get there, he said, what will you do? Lay hands on you. Ministry is easy when the voice of God is obvious. Destiny is sweet when the voice is obvious. People can't understand you because the voice makes you a mystery to your world. Am I speaking to somebody here? Imagine Abraham wake up one morning telling Sarah, I need to go and kill Isaac. I was studying my Bible all through Senegal and the few period I have. And I was just studying and I got to the point of Isaac and I told myself, I said, how many of us can be loyal to death? Because that was the loyalty of Isaac. Imagine an old man, almost 100 years, tying a youth. Isaac said, Daddy, where is the lamb for the sacrifice? I said, the Lord will provide. Suddenly they got to a point, he took rope and tied his leg and hand and placed him on the altar. The boy did not react. That's loyalty. How many of us today we accept our father to tie us? We will tie our father. Many generations are tying their father. Say you live your life, you want to live my life. You want to use me? I will use you. Somebody shout the voice of God. I wrote here, I said the voice makes leaders. Exodus chapter 9 verse 1 to 11. The voice makes leaders. When the voice spoke to Moses, they didn't need to contend who will lead them in Egypt, who will lead them out of Egypt. The voice of God established him as the leader. Am I talking to somebody here? I came to announce to you, if you read the Bible very well, in Numbers 20 verse 6, 7 and 8, it said the voice brings result cheaply. The voice brings result cheaply. And Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and they fell upon their faces, and the glory of the Lord appeared unto them. Verse 7. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 8, take the rod and gather thou the assembly together, thou and Aaron thy brother, and spake ye unto the rock before their eyes, and it shall give forth his water. What gave him cheap result in ministry? The voice. Somebody said the voice. And the voice spake to Moses and told him what to do. He said, take the rod, gather them, and speak to the rock. The people needed water. Moses only needed the voice. What the shepherd needs to care for the sheep is the voice of God. Am I talking to somebody? God, the people were crying to Moses, we need water. Moses, the people were looking for water. Moses needed the voice. And when the Bible says he went into the presence with his brother Aaron, and the voice spake to him. When God tells you what to do, every other thing bows to what you will do. Put your right hand on your ear, say, Lord, speak to me. I said, it is what you have heard that keeps you in the midst of the battle. What have you heard? When you hear God, no matter the shaking, you stay put, because you have heard him and you trust and believe in him. Am I talking to somebody? Kimana. Let me say two things and we pray. To hear God, you must be pure. To hear God, you must have a prayer life. I say you must have what? You remember Numbers chapter 20 that we read? You remember? Verse 6. Numbers 20 verse 6. Numbers 20 verse 6. If you hear God, and for you to hear God, you must make up your mind to live a pure life. You must make up your mind to live a pure life. You must make up your mind to live a prayer life. He said that Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and they fell upon their faces, and the glory of the Lord appeared. The presence is the presence of God that guarantees the voice of God. If God is not present, his voice will be absent. Hello? Am I speaking? If he's not present, his voice will be absent. Do you know in Acts chapter 9, when Saul was converted, the Bible said the people around him were hearing voices, but they didn't see anybody. They were hearing voices. Saul was hearing God, but never saw God. Am I talking here? I said the voice of God will come by fasting. 2 Chronicles chapter 20 verse 3. Bible says he gathered them to a fast, and the voice of the Lord spoke, telling him what to do. Am I speaking to someone here? I prophesy. I say I prophesy. In Psalm 62 verse 11, it said, God had spoken once, twice have I heard that this, the power belongeth to God. Once has he spoken, twice have I heard. Can I ask you a question? Has he spoken at all? He said, for once has he spoken. Lift your right hand. Put your two hands on your ears. Put your two hands. You can hear God via his voice, audible. You can hear God via his word. His word. You can study scriptures and hear God. But said the letter killeth, but the spirit giveth life. When Jesus came out of the wilderness, Bible said he demanded for the scroll where it was written, and he saw that the spirit of the Lord is upon me. He has anointed me to preach. And the Bible said he closed the book and began ministry. He heard God via the word. The same voice said, this is my beloved son in whom I am well pleased. God can speak audibly. God can speak through his word. Open your mouth, say, Father, as I behold your word, let me hear your voice. As I go to sleep, let me hear your voice. Let me hear you through the dreams. Let me hear you. Let me hear you. Let me hear you. The voice of direction, the voice of instruction. Lord, tell me. I vow I will obey. Somewhere said, only say thy word. He said, thy servant is here to obey. Only say it. Open your mouth and cry to God. Lord, I desire the asset for life, asset in destiny, asset in ministry. Let me hear. In the name of Jesus. Hear this. Your confusion is that you hear too much of men. Go and hear God. From daybreak to day dark, everything in your head is what men are saying. You don't have one thing that God has said. Because you are deficient of his word. You are deficient of his voice. You can't study God's word well and not hear God well. The voice is in the word. There's a level you get to walking with God that you hear his voice audibly. Say, you shall hear a voice in your ear saying, go down this way. A voice. There are times we stand, we just hear him. A young man was talking to me recently, and I looked at him and I told him why he was talking. The owner spoke. Not every case God is dislaying. It was this speaking, and I heard God. When I hear God, every other speaker is not relevant. A daughter of this house came to me and said, Daddy, there's this young man. Once he walked into my office, I looked at her. I said, you just missed it. I was sharing with myself. And I said, I just asked myself, I said, what made this person close to me? Because when you begin to come close to me, I ask myself, what's bringing you close? If I can verify your closeness, I will continue. If it's not clear, I'll disconnect. It's one of my challenges. So I was like, Lord, what's making this young lady come around me like this? And I discovered the day she walked into my office, I said, you just defied yourself. She didn't confide with flesh and blood. She said, Daddy, yes. And I sat her down, disciplined her quietly, and I began to tutor her. And the time I told her, I said, you don't have business with this guy. And as before I finished saying it, she has told me, yes, sir. And told the guy, please, sir, we can be friends, but we have nothing to do together in destiny. Those are few persons I can speak directly to. And that day I knew, because she now counted on Daddy, if it is not thus say it, let's leave the matter. I don't speak like that too. Because for anyone you confirm, if anything is shelled, they go blame you. So I don't do confirmation. I leave you to be convinced. It's your cross. Any young man that toasts you with us here, the Lord is a weak man. And maybe a manipulator. I'm not saying God does not speak. You know, after I finish preaching now, some brothers will take my sermon and just go and bracket one sister and tell them, I was just praying. You know, Papa said the voice of God is the greatest. As I heard God, God told me, you are my wife. Tell the brother, hey, 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 hey. In a particular church, a brother he began to, was it a brother or a sister who danced first? Began, and danced towards the brother, big sister, and said, God told him, say, you are my wife, you are my wife. As he was through dancing, the lady began to dance too. And hey, thus saith the Lord, you are not my husband. You are not my husband. Konima. Hello. I went to my wife. Then I convinced her, persuaded her. Everything. She said yes. 2 weeks after she has agreed, she came back to tell me it's like she can't continue again. That's when I got angry. I now told her, I said, it's only if you are dead. I said it with red eye. The first time I did the job as a man. The second time I did my work as a man of God. I looked at her eyeball to eyeball. Daddy, 2 weeks into. I didn't have what was convincing. She was normal. She was natural. Yes. She wasn't pretending about it. She wasn't seeing the physical manifestation. Yes. Even though she had some spiritual conviction. But her confusion came after 2 weeks. Yes. And she came back to this man. And she said, I don't think I want to continue again. I say, what? I said, I know the God I had. It's only if you are dead that I will marry another woman. I said it with no smile in my face. And she left me further confused. You know, she told you on her wedding day she was crying. Those were the hard words. Okay. Because I was too sure of what I heard. But I didn't use what I heard to confuse her. You know, after night vigil, don't praise. So you tell the girl, I'm going on the 7 days fast. First way they pray for mountain, go to snap picture. On the mountain, you are praying and snapping picture. They are videoing you praying. Please, I need clarity of some things. Kings. After 7 days, you make sure when you are coming, when you are still smelling body odor and heavy mouth, you just tell her, can I see you now? As she comes, you'll begin to oppress her. So I will just pray. Just pray. Pray. The Lord told me. Who shut up? Now we did this side, we don't settle quarter tire. We don't settle quarter tire. I asked the young man, I said, but you said God said, where is the God? Be convinced. Let the young man convince you. Let him put his dream on the table. Ask him his purpose for life. If it is possible, look for his mentor. Because if his mentor is not clear, you will end up under the hand of the tormentor. Yes. It's important to know his mentor, who he believes in. A young lady was standing with a guy who was proposing to her, and a clean car passed. The young man said, these things are carnal. They are carnal. They are carnal. They saw good houses, said, these are evil. The lady just told him, he said, it's obvious that our belief system differ. We can't. He said, why? He said, I like this kind of thing. I said, it's obvious you don't like them, so please, let's share Gary. No. Am I talking to somebody? Don't be deceived. They are part of life. But don't live life mounting pressure. These things will naturally come. Stand on your feet. Lift your two hands. There's a song I love. That song that says, no. And the voice of thunder. You know that song? Is Stacy around? That voice walking inside Emmanuel. 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 Your name is God. Emmanuel. Sing it loud. Emmanuel. 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 Your name is God. Oh. Listen. Stretch your two hands. Stretch your two hands. Listen. One of our daughters, she was heavy and she needed to travel to deliver. And she came to my office. She said, Daddy, I came to inquire of the Lord. There is a document I'm supposed to send ahead before I travel. And while she was talking, I heard the Lord voice of my God, Jesus. And I said to her, don't send the document. It will affect you. I said, keep it. So she bought her ticket and went to the airport, boarded and left. We met over there. When I went there, we saw. And I said to her, I didn't tell her the details, but I already knew by the revelation of God's Spirit that if she sends the document ahead, it would be like exposing herself. Do you know that that lady may have been told by God, don't send the document? Another person can walk into the office and God will say, send the document. That is something about God that you must be careful when you're dealing with the voice of God. God can tell you to pursue, and in a short while tell you to stay back. Because he's the God that is all-knowing. Stop using the syllabus of Mr. Peter to run your life as Mr. Paul. That's why you are facing problem. Peter is prospering, you are not prospering. Because God told Peter to pursue and told you to wait. Do you know that Peter can pursue and jam breakthrough? God can bring breakthrough to where Paul is standing. He's God all by himself. That's why you need this voice. The God that entered the prison to bring Paul and Silas out, bring Peter out. In the case of Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, he stayed with them inside the fire. So can't you see that why you need the voice? Per face. Per face. I said to somebody, you got what you wanted and now you are regretting what you got. Why? Because in the first place, what you wanted, not what you needed. God will never give you what you want. He will give you what you need. And most of the times we don't like what we need, but we celebrate what we want. I don't know how true. They say anything bitter has a large benefit to your health. And most of the things that are sweet are damaging to the health. But you know, we want the sweet thing and never needs the bitter thing. It is when life don't red that you go for the bitter thing by force, by fire. Lift your hand, say, Lord, I want to hear you.
Lord, I want to hear you.
Church, I'm your pastor. I'm not scared of you hearing God. I'm not scared. Why? Because I know if you hear God, you'll be better than this. You will serve him here than this if you hear him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I was praying. I said, Lord, make your voice obvious to everyone in the congregation. Let them hear you. I am too certain that if you hear God, my ministry will be faster and sweeter. You know why? I may not be perfect, but I'm sincere. When you hear God, he will tell you. Father, one more time I ask, speak to your daughter. Speak to your son. Speak to your daughter. Speak to your son. Let your voice be obvious to your children. Deliver them from the voice of men. Deliver us from the voice of confusion. Let your voice be strong. Wave those hands and celebrate. Celebrate Jesus.
abundant grace and favor as you worship with us at Omega Fire Ministries, Lagos. This is a home that cares for you. You will be empowered with the undiluted Word of God, receive answers to your prayers, experience deliverance, the prophetic and the mighty move of God. Join God's servant, Reverend Fidelis Ayemoba, every week on Sundays by 7 a.m., Tuesdays by 6 p.m., and Fridays by 6 p.m. Venue, Plot 2/3 Kudirat Abiola Way by First Bank Bus Stop, Oregun, Ikeja, Lagos. For inquiries, please call 0816-618-5837. Omega Fire Ministries, Lagos. Come, experience, enjoy.
It's grace, your grace. Grace, your grace.
Come experience abundant grace and favor as you worship with us at Omega Fire Ministries, Lagos. This is a